with others?
Which link? The Zoom link?
The YouTube link that, okay. So,
Wait.
okay. Here we go.
You're still not on YouTube.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Zoom link. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Majjhima Nikaya discussion. This is Sabbāsava Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya second sutta, and this is a weekly class. And every Friday at 6 p.m. we meet you through Dhamma USA YouTube channel to discuss about the suttas, and hand in hand, side by side with Pali and the translation, and also we will discuss. And you are also welcome to join us through some questions if you have, and of course we will try to do our best, at least to give some idea of what is this suttas, and at least to give some idea, and also learn a little bit, if not too profound Dhamma, and at least if we know the concept, at least if we know the content, it might help us a lot in learning the Dhamma. So with that good intention, we started this Sutta discussion series, and I appreciate our admin team and also volunteers who helped us in making this possible. And so in Sabbāsava Sutta, these 7 asavas are important. Like the way we get rid of asavas, are these 7 ways. This we discussed last week. Defilements given up by sin, defilements given up by restraining, defilements given up by using, and defilements given up by enduring, defilements given up by avoiding, and defilements given up by dispelling, and defilements given up by developing. So we learned, we discussed about Dasana Pahatabba Asava, defilements given up by sin, last week. And I hope we can go ahead with that, and let me go to the place that we stopped last time. So there are 2 kinds of people. One is Asutava Putujano, and the other one is Sutava Arya Savako. So Asutava Putujano is a person who doesn't know the Dhamma, and who has no idea about the Arya Dhamma. So they are called Arya Dhammas. So they are called Aryanang Adassavi. They don't see the noble ones. And Arya Dhammasa Akovido, they are not skilled in the noble teachings. And then Arya Dhamme Avinito, they are not trained in the teaching of the good persons. And so that kind of a person will have um, lot of complications, and that kind of person will actually generate more and more asavas, cankers. So the word asava itself is an interesting word, and this asava also is interpreted as influxes or cankers or taints or corruptions or intoxicant biases. And there's a list of 4 asavas in Patisambhida Magga. So it's mentioned, Digha Nikaya 16, it's mentioned there. And the canker of sense, that is Kama asava. And then the canker of existence, eternal, desiring eternal existence, that is called Bhavasava. And of wrong views, that is called Ditthasava. And of ignorance, that is called Avijjasava. They are the 4 main uh, asavas that we have. And so that being said, and these asavas are really very powerful, very difficult to get rid of. And in many suttas, these things are explained in many different ways. For example, a list of 3, except the canker of views, omitting the canker of views, they are explained in right here, Majjhima Nikaya 2, Sabbāsava. And in Sabbāsava Sutta, we don't have Ditthasava because it is assumed that Arya Savaka, or the noble disciple, is supposed to have already right view. So he has come out of this. Um, he has come out of this um, canker called Ditthasava, and therefore in Majjhima Nikaya 2, um, Sabbāsava Sutta, we do not have Ditthasava. Please be mindful about that. And then Majjhima Nikaya 9 also we have Digha Nikaya 33, we have Anguttara Nikaya 59, 67, and so many other suttas, especially Vibhanga, Khuddakavattu Vibhanga, and many of them mention about sometimes 3-4, sometimes 4-fold divisions are there. And so it's important to learn and know about these things. This 4-fold division also occurs under the names of floods, ogha, kamogha, bhavogha, like that. And yokes also, yoga, yokes or yoga. That's another um, way of explaining the almost the same concept. Through the path of stream entry, for example, the canker of views is destroyed. That is, we know there are 10 fetters, and they are called sangyojana, dasa sangyojana, and in that case, sakaya ditthi vichikicha, silabbata paramasa, the first 3 sangyojanas are destroyed. So in that case, when you become a stream enterer, or the first path of sainthood, there the canker of views or ditthasava will be destroyed. Through the path of non-returning, for example, that is anagami, and then the canker of sense desire will be destroyed, because in sakadagami or once returner, the kamaraga patiga, the uh, two other sangyojanas or fetters, they will be uh, considerably destroyed, but still not fully. It will be fully destroyed when you become anagami or non-returner. Also, when you become anagami, the canker of sense desire, that means Kamasava will be destroyed. Remember, Ditthasava will be destroyed when you are in Sotapanna state, and Kamasava will be destroyed when you are in Anagami state. Through the path of Arahantaship and the cankers of existence, that is Bhavasava, and the canker of ignorance, that is Avijjasava, will be destroyed. So Majjhima Nikaya 2, this Sabbāsava Sutta explains how to overcome the cankers or the asavas, namely through insight, through sense control, through avoidance, through wise use of the necessities of life, etc. And we learned about those 7 stages. And um, also, it's more explained in the Majjhima Nikaya commentary. Papancha Sudani is Majjhima Nikaya commentary. And for your information, Arahanta, or the liberated one or the enlightened one, also is called Kina Sava. Kina Asava. So, Kina Asava means the one whose cankers are destroyed, or the one whose asavas are destroyed, or one who is canker free, asava free. That kind of a person is called Kina Asava, and that is Arahanta. So, by the time you become Arahanta, all the 4 asavas will be completely destroyed without anything remaining. And suttas concluding, um, yeah, can you please mute your mics? I think someone has turned the mic on. Suttas concluding with the attainment of arahantaship by the listeners, that is called Sutava Arya Savaka. Okay, this is very important. Often ends with the word. During this utterance, the hearts of the bhikkhus were freed from the cankers through clinging no more. Anupadaya asavehi chittani vimuchinsuti. So this also we find in many suttas. So just uh, to give an idea how important that we learn this sutta, and this one is directly related to the final liberation. So Sutava Arya Savaka and Asutava Puthujjana, these 2 words we need to remember. I also recommend you take a piece of paper or some notebook, because we continue to learn this one, this Sutta study series. So please keep note on them, and later on we will also maybe test your knowledge later on. just just to make sure you are in the same page with us. Please remember these certain terms we need to remember, and that will be very useful. So Sutava is important, that is educated, or Sutta actually means the one who listen. So the person who listened more is the one who listened more is the educated one those days. They didn't have a writing system, so they actually had to listen to their teachers. So Sutavacha Bhikkave Arya Savako. Arya Savaka is the noble disciple or the noble one. And Savaka again means listener. Okay. And so Arya Savaka, noble listener, actually this sasana starts from Sotapanna. Sotapanna Maggaphala, Sakadagami Maggaphala, Anagami Maggaphala, and Arahanta Maggaphala. So Arya Savaka, that kind of an Arya Savaka, oh noble disciple, Aryanang Dasavi, he sees the noble one. Arya Dhamma Sakovido, he is skilled in the training, or he is skilled in the noble teaching. And Arya Dhamme Suvinito, he is well trained. He is well trained in the teaching of the noble one. Suvinita. Vinita means trained. disciplined, and suvinita means well trained. So Sappurisanang Dasami, this one is important, and this is not necessarily those Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Arahanta persons. This can still be a good Kalyana with the friends who who are in the right path, who are actually enthusiastic about learning the Dhamma and practicing the Dhamma, and who are ready to rectify their sansaric mistakes. So, day to day, when we are trying to learn the Dhamma, practice the Dhamma, so Sappurisa, that kind of a person, good Kalyanamitra friend also can be called Sappurisana. So Sappurisanam Dasari, that person should also be able to see the Sappurisas, Kalyanamitra friends. Sappurisa Dhamma Sakovido, again, he or she should be skilled in the Sappurisa Dhamma. And Sappurisa Dhamme Suvinito, he or she should be um, trained, well trained in the Sappurisa Dhamma. Now, the other word that we need to learn, two words again, Manasikaraniye Dhamme Pajanati. And Asutava Putujana is mentioned as, interpreted as Amanasikaraniye Dhamme. So that person, Manasikaraniye Dhamme Nappajanati. Asutava Putujano Manasikaraniye Dhamme Nappajanati. Sutavacha Arya Savako, Sutava Arya Savako, Manasikaraniye Dhamme Pajanati. So Sutava Arya Savaka, the educated noble one, noble disciple, understand to which things they should pay attention to. So Manasikara is a very important word. Manasikara. So one is called Yoniso Manasikara, and the other one is called Ioniso Manasikara. Okay. So Amanasi Karaniye Dhamme Pajanati. This person also knows the things that they should not pay attention to. He or she should not pay attention to certain things. So there are certain things that we should pay attention to, and there are certain other things we should not pay attention to. It's like we do have the remote controller of the television. Television has many channels. So you should be smart enough, skillful enough to change the channel when you know, okay, this is not going to work for me. I'm not interested in that. So you can easily change the channel. If you don't have this remote controller, then you have to watch everything. So we have to know the difference between Manasikaraniya Dhamma and Amanasikaraniya Dhamma. So what is Manasikaraniya Dhamma? So Manasikaraniye Dhamme Pajananto, Amanasikaraniye Dhamme Pajananto, Ye Dhamma na Manasikaraniya, Te Dhamme na Manasikaroti. So they understand to which things they should pay attention to and to which things they should not pay attention to. So they pay attention to things that they should and do not pay attention to things that they shouldn't. So um, this actually needs a lot of training. It doesn't happen to someone just like that. You need some definite discipline. That's why we also need Sappurisa or Aryanang. So noble ones should be around us. That will be very helpful to us when we do that. And also, if um, we should also be skillful in the noble dhamma, and we should also be disciplined in the noble dhamma. That is why every full moon day, for example, Buddhist people, they observe 8 precepts. Normally they observe 5 precepts, and they observe 8 precepts on full moon days in order to get themselves some training. This is practical aspect, and also constantly we need to practice these things. Really important. So manasikaraniye dhamme pajananto, amanasikaraniye dhamme pajananto, ye dhamma na manasikaraniya, te dhamme na manasikaravati. When there is any dhamma that should not be paid attention to, then they don't pay attention to. Ye dhamma manasikaraniya, te dhamme manasikaravati. When there are some dhammas that they should pay attention to, then they pay attention to that. Okay, katame cha bhikkhave dhamma na manasikaraneya ye dhamma dhamme na manasikaroti. And what are the things to which they don't pay attention to? And what are the dhammas that they should not pay attention to? So this is very interesting, and also very careful, gradual, one by one, step by step. It's explaining right here. And yassa bhikkhave dhamme manasi karoto anupanno kamasavo uppajjati. Now we talked about kamasava. Okay. Yassa bhikkhave dhamme manasi karoto anupanno kamasavo uppajjati. When someone, bhikkhave means monks. This is alapana vibhakti bahuvachana, oh monks. Oh monks. When certain dhammas, when somebody, dhamme is dutiyaya bhati, okay, when certain dhammas, when somebody pays attention to certain dhammas, anupannoa kama suvo uppajjati. What happens to that person? The unarisen defilements will arise. So this is a very important thing that we need to pay attention. When attention is paid to certain dhammas, these dhammas give rise to unarisen defilements. And then uppannoa kama so pavadhati. Vadhati means to grow, pavadhati means grow more. Okay, so the when you pay attention to certain dhammas, the arisen defilements, already you have certain defilements, and they will grow more. So this is where we have to know, oh, this is something that we should not pay attention to. So you need to know that. And some people don't even know that. Many people actually, they don't know. They just pay attention to this karma sava, and then their unarisen defilements, they actually allow them to come in, arise. And then also already arisen asavas, they allow them to grow more. And this is like you have an institute without a gatekeeper. So when you don't have a gatekeeper, anyone can come in and out of the institute, and then that institute will be quite unsecure. If you have a good system, you can monitor who is coming in, who is going out, and what they bring in and what they take out, and then they can actually check. But if you don't have it, you are quite unsafe. So gatekeeper is compared to a sati, mindfulness. So when we meditate, for example, you meditate, and let's say like you meditate on breathing, and so incoming breath and outgoing breath, and in between the nostril and the upper lip, you do have uh, this sati, or the gatekeeper, in between, to monitor those incoming and outgoing breaths. And just like that. So when that happens, the gatekeeper knows what is coming in and what is going out. So same thing here. The person, this person who's practicing, he should be able to know when the attention is paid to, and when the attention is not paid to, and when you know that when you pay some attention to some dhammas, if you know, oh, my unarisen defilements come to me, and already arisen defilements grow, and then we have to be really careful. And therefore, anupannoa bhavasava upajjati, it will also, the Ioniso Manasikara is that such that the defilements of sensual desire, and also desire to be reborn, bhavasava. So kama asava means defilements of sensual desire. So bhava asava means bhava is to be, to be. So you want something, and then you want to have it more, or you want to be there, and that becomes bhavasava, desire to be reborn. So let's say like you want to be reborn in a heavenly realm, or maybe you want to have more comfortable lifestyle or something. So you have that desire. So this is called bhavasava, and kamasava is just the desire for these sensual desires, and then sensual pleasures, and then bhava asava is to have that thing, to be reborn, or to be there with that kamasava. And avijjasava is the ignorance, and that's another one that's really very dangerous. As I mentioned, most of us, we don't even know what's happening around. We are totally in the darkness. We don't see what is coming in and what is going out. When there is a light, only we can see who is coming in and who is going out. So one is the sati, the mindfulness, and the other is the aloka, the light, the wisdom that we need to have. We should be able to recognize what's coming in and out. So avijja is also blocking us from seeing things. Avijja is really, not only it's not, it's blocking, but also we not only we don't see things, but also it's blocking from seeing. So uppanno va avidya savo pavadhati. So desire, and the avidya. So all these kamasava, bhavasava, and avijjasava, these three asavas, the unarisen, these asavas will arise, and already arisen, these three asavas will grow more. Ime dhamma na manasi karaniya. So the Buddha says these dhammas should not be paid attention to. So remember, the word dhamma is such a complex term, very highly, the most multi-meaningful word, I think. Very, very complicated word, and it can be related to many things, teaching, and here it's actually just those dhammas, those things. They are the things to which they don't pay attention. And ye dhamma na manasikaroti. Ime dhamma na manasikaraniya. Ime means these. Dhamma patama vibhatti bahuvachana. These dhamma should not be paid attention to. Ye dhamme na manasikaroti. We so these are the things to which they don't pay attention and should not pay attention to. When we know that these are not good, then we should not pay attention to such dhammas. Hope is everyone clear with this? If you have any question, please feel free to ask. Okay, I will slowly explain if you have any complication.
Bante,
Yes.
can I ask a question, please?
Yes.
These seven steps, do they go in linear progression? I mean, do we have to go number one, number two, number three, and so on before you reach number seven?
I think they are more interrelated. They're not necessarily, following any particular order.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, that let's say um, over here, dasana pahatabba, right? And
Mm.
I'm sure you will also get to know more when we progress in the sutta. We will
Yeah.
know some of them are actually, it's like a certain kind of a hierarchical order, but not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Okay.
Sometimes they can be over here, right? Dasana
Right.
pahatabba. There are some Sangvara pahatabba. They can be actually avoided through restraining. So seeing is important, restraining is important, using is important, and enduring is important, but they are not necessarily following a particular order. Yeah, you can see certain when we go later on, when we discuss these things, you will also get to know easily.
Okay. And then just one more question at this
Yeah.
stage. It seems to me
Hmm.
that when we talk about training and practice, we actually are referring to meditation most of the time. Am I right in that assumption?
You see, if you go through these 7 stages,
Mm-hmm.
all very interesting. Like, what is meditation? Then it depends on how you define that term. Okay, meditation, is it just sitting, closing your eyes, and just move, not like making any movement, just unmoved, silent, sitting close with closed eyes? That's not the only way of meditation. There can be open meditation, like seeing
Right.
is and restraining, using, enduring. You can see how the last one only actually bhavana, for example,
Right.
right? So
Mm.
you need to understand the realization of the Dhamma is actually a kind of overarching um, um, system of education. And
Mm.
sometimes we have to critically think, sometimes we have to make an effort to get rid of them, and then we also have to see, for example, sutava asutava putujana. So for that person, as most of us are actually asutava putujana, so we have to listen to the Dhamma talks. That's really important. So just listening to the Dhamma talks or reading the Dhamma books or discussing with the Sappurisa person, or if we know some Arya Savakas, very good too. So those things are not necessarily bhavana, right?
Right.
There are
Mm.
multiple ways actually. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So um, okay, and then Sutava Arya Savako, right? And then we go to Katamecha Bhikkhave Dhamma Manasikaraniya, we learn that. And then we go to Tassa Amanasikaraniyanang Dhammanang Amanasikara Manasikaraniyanang Dhammanang Manasikara Anupanna Cheva Asava Na Upajjanti Uppanna Cha Asava Pahiyan. This is the opposite of what we learned before. Over here, we learned that there are things that when paid attention is paid to them, do not give rise to unarisen defilements and give up uh, arisen defilements. So this is manasikaraniye, right? So yeah, this is the Manasikaraniya Dhamma. And then we go to Amanasikaraniya Dhamma. Because of not paying attention to what they should not and paying attention to what they should, unarisen defilements do not arise. Same thing. And arisen defilements are given up. Let's say, for example, Okay, when we practice, let's say we pray, we practice loving kindness meditation, metta meditation. So when you practice metta meditation, um, if you if you don't have anger, that will not come to you. Okay, and if you have some anger, or let's say if you don't have hatred, that's a more stronger term. So stronger term, hatred will not come to you because you practice loving kindness meditation. And maybe due to some reason you also have, maybe even while meditating, things can happen to people. Like let's say you are meditating in the vihara or in your room, and suddenly somebody knocks at the door or makes some sounds the next door, and or maybe a vehicle is running with loud noise, and you might suddenly, you know, get some irritative um, emotions. Maybe you get angry suddenly. Oh, who's this and why are they disturbing, or something like that. And in that case, so you did not have it, but you actually let them let them arise. And when you know, okay, this is also just a sound, and when you keep practicing, and um, those emotions, those anger and things like that will not arise in you anymore, because you keep practicing and you know, okay, it's just a sound. Somebody knocks at the door, or it's just a sound, or somebody, you know, maybe drives a car or something with loud noise, but you are not going to be disturbed by that. So that way, if we know, okay, now our practice is much improved because of not paying attention to what they should not, and paying attention to what they should. And then unarisen defilements do not arise, and arisen defilements are given up. Actually, if you have anger or something, that will also slowly and steadily will wither away from you. So keep practicing. That will be very important. This is just one example. So idang dukkhanti yoniso manasikkaroti. So remember the word yoniso manasikara. Very important in this sutta to learn about yoniso manasikara. Idang dukkhanti yoniso manasikkaroti. They properly attain. This is suffering. And properly attention, or proper attention, yoniso manasikara is also explained like that. So that is one way of explaining the term yoniso manasikara. And so ayang dukkha samudaya, you see now it's going to actually four noble truth. Idang dukkhanti yoniso manasikaroti. This is Pathama Purisa Ekavachana Vartamana Kala Karoti. Yoniso Manasikaroti is a verb here. And ayang dukkha samudayoti yoniso manasikaroti. Ayang here means this. Idang also is this. So idang dukkhang, ayang dukkha samudayo. Now you can see idang is napumsakalinga, ayang is purusalinga. That also can be learned through this. So is he. Ayang dukkha samudayoti yoniso manasikaroti. This is the cause or the origin, samudaya, sang udaya. This is the origin of suffering. And ayang dukkha nirodhoti yoniso manasikaroti. Dukkha nirodha. This is the cessation of suffering. Nirodha is cessation. And then ayang dukkha nirodha gamini patipadati yoniso manasikaroti. This is the path leading to the cessation of suffering. So all the four noble truths, this person, this Arya Savaka, this Sutava Arya Savaka is contemplating on. He pays attention to, he or she pays attention to that. Tassa evaṁ yoniso manasikaroto tini sanyojanani pahiyanti. We were discussing about this. So when evaṁ means thus, tassa to him, or we can also say chatta vibhatti or chaturthi vibhatti. Um, so when he or she is paying attention to that, proper attention. Remember, proper attention. Tini sanyojanani, three fetters or three sanyojanas, pahiyanti. Three sanyojanas uh, will be eradicated or will be given up. What are those three? Sakkaya Ditti, Vichikicha, Silabbata, Paramasa. Okay. Ime uchanti bhikkave asava dasana pahatabba. So dasana pahatabba, these are the asavas to be given up by dasana. So Sakkaya Ditti, Vichikicha, Silabbata Paramasa. Sakkaya Ditti means identity view, and Vichikicha is doubt, and Silabhata Paramasa means misapprehension of precepts and observances. So sometimes we might think, oh, I don't have these things, I'm already okay, I have no problem with that, so I'm already Sotapanna. People can think of have that feeling that way. We have to be very careful in coming to such judgments, because this personality belief is not so easy to get rid of. Personality belief is the first of the 10 fetters, Sangyojana, and it's entirely abandoned only on reaching the path of stream winning or Sotapatti Magga. And he or she also can be called Arya Puggala then. Okay, we have Atta Purisa Puggala. So one of the noble, eight noble persons. So that person becomes a noble person when he or she um, gets rid of the Sakkaya Ditti Vichikicha, Silabbata Paramasa. So we need to actually learn more about. There are 20 kinds of personality belief. Okay, the Sakkaya Ditti, uh, according to Bhikkhu Jnana Tiloka's Buddhist Dictionary, Manual of Buddhist Terms and Doctrines, page number 182, there are 20 types of Sakkaya Dittis, personality beliefs, which are obtained by applying four types of that belief to each of the five groups of existence. Five groups of existence. These are skandha, panchakanda. The belief to be identical with corporeality, this is rupa, and feeling, that is vedana, and perception, that is sanya, and then mental formation, that is sankhara, and consciousness, that is vijnana. And these are the five aggregates, and to be contained in them, and to be dependent on them, of them, and to be the owner of them. So now you see how difficult it is to get rid of this Sakkaya Ditti. It's very tricky, and it's very um, confusing, and we can easily be misled. So Sakkaya Ditti is, for example, even a Sotapanna person, he or she also has Kamaraga Patiga. He also has Ruparaga, Aruparaga, Mana, Uddhacha, Avidya, so still can be there. But Sakkaya Ditti, by that stage, that person's personality belief will be done. And Vichikicha, the kind of doubts that you have about the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, or there are eight kinds of doubts that uh, has to be have to be avoided or completely given up when you are in Sotapanna stage. So this is also an important factor that we need to learn. And special doubt also is called vichikicca. So special doubt is the one of the five mental hindrances. Well, one of the five mental hindrances is vichikicca, right? Like pancha nivarana. And one of the three fetters is the here, sangyojana. And this disappear forever at stream entry or sotapanna, the first stage of holiness or Arya Puggala. And then as a fetter, it refers to skeptical doubt about the master, that is about the Buddha, and the teaching, that is about the Dhamma, and the Sangha. So you cannot have any doubt about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. So sometimes we might think, oh, I don't have any doubt about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. But then when it comes to certain Dhammas, we are not even sure of it, whether it is true or not. We don't even know. And so you see, again, Vichikicca is still there in many of us. And then the training, that is the Vinaya, and then the about the things past and future, and also conditionality, that is the Paticca Samuppada. So all these things should be very clear to such a person. It also applies to uncertainty, whether things are wholesome or not, and to be practiced or not, of high or low value, etc. So Visuddhimagga also gives a good explanation about this. And Vichikicca is the lack of desire to think. So Vigata Chikicca is also another way of explaining this word. So I think this is quite an interesting word, and the opposite is almost Samma Ditti, is also very helpful to for us to get rid of this Michaditi or Vichikicca, is the doubt. And Silabbata Paramasa, a word that we also need to pay a little bit attention to, Silabbata Paramasa. So here, Silabbata Paramasa is uh, the way that attachment or clinging to mere rules and rituals, and is the third of the 10 fetters, like here Sakkaya Ditti Vichikicca Silabbata Paramasa. It is one of the four kinds of clinging, upadana, and it disappears on attaining the stream entry. So again, for example, in the Buddha's days, it is said that some people, they wanted to get rid of some defilement, so they immersed in the water. So they thought that that way they can wash away some defilements. And then some people also were trying to burn their defilements by having some fires all around them. And so different ways and also some people were trying to practice like some animals, and so they tried different ways, thinking that that is very important for their practice. So some people, they were like living like a dog, eating like a dog, sleeping like a dog. Everything was like a dog, and that lifestyle was the best for that person. So that um, even among us, sometimes it can happen to us. Like, let's say, you have some rituals, some rites and rituals that you are so addicted to, and if you feel like if you uh, they are not really very meaningful, but you are so addicted to some rituals, rites and rituals. So they are not really leading us to any kind of liberation or spiritual path, but people keep doing it just for the as a habit, just for the sake of it, or maybe due to some reason, maybe from their parents or whatever they learned, and so they want to keep. Um, so in the Buddha's days, there were a lot of stories about such Sila Paramarsa practices. But I must say, even today, we do have, even among the so-called Buddhist people, these Sila Paramarsa can be there. Ime Uchanti Bhikkhave Asava Dasana Pahatamba. So these asavas have to be given up by seeing. If you don't see, I mean, this dasana, this perspective is very important. This right view is very important. And those dasanas are not necessary to be given up by meditating. Okay. So one is the, um, what is the first one? Dasana pahatabba asava, right? And so we still continue to work with the dasana. And then sangvara pahatabba asava. Now you see these asavas, we need some discipline here. We need to observe sila for this. Katamecha bhikkave asava sangvara pahatabba. What are those asavas that have to be given up by sangvara or discipline or restraint? Idha bhikkave bhikkhu patisankha yoniso chakundriya sangvara sanguto viharati. Idha means here. Bhikkave, O monks, bhikkhu, a monk, patisankha yoniso chakundriya sangvaro sanguto viharati. So chakku indriya sangvara sanguto. So take a monk who reflecting properly, yoniso, patisankha yoniso, reflecting properly. Viharati lives. Sangvara sanguto, restraining the lives, restraining the faculty of eye. Chakundriya, chakku indriya means faculty of eye. So you, let's say you go to a big shopping mall and you want to buy something. You actually had that maybe you wanted to go buy some vegetable, and then while entering there you see many fascinating things, and then your eyes, you can't really get out of those items. So you want to keep enjoying, and you keep um, attached to those items, and then eventually you might even not buy the vegetable but buy the other thing. So you don't have the faculty of the eye. So like, how do we have the restraint of the eye? This is just an example, simple example. So there are things that we see through the eyes, and if we can control, monitor what we see, and then it's a skillful way of restraining the eyes. And let's say you want to watch a movie, and you really want to study also, but um, you still want to go ahead and watch the movie first. Just another example. So things like that. Ida bhikkave bhikkhu patisankhayoniso chakundriya sangvara sanguto viharati. Take a mendicant who, reflecting properly, lives restraining the faculty of the eye. Yang hissa bhikkave chakundriya sangvarang asangutassa viharato uppajjeya asava vighata parilaha chakundriya sangvarang sangutassa viharato evang sate asava vighata parilaha na honti. For the distressing and feverish defilement. So this is like uh, vighata parilaha. So vighata and parilaha, these are, I remember somebody was asking about this word actually, the word for stress. You see vighata and parilaha. They are powerful Pali terms. So Chakundriya Sangvarang Sangutassa Viharato Uppajjeyung Asava Vighata Parilaha. When somebody actually lives with such restraint, and then so feverish defilements that might arise in someone who lives without restraint of the eyes of faculty do not arise. So for such people, those feverish defilements will not arise. Such distressing defilements will not arise in them. So it's important to have the Sangvara. Indriya Sangvara is important. Chakundriya Sangvarang Sanghutasya Viharato Evang Te Asava Vighata Parilaha Nahonti. So when you live a restrained life with the faculty of eye, and then those distressing and feverish defilements will not arise in you. This is the benefit. And same thing with the others. Patisankayoniso sotindriya sangvara sanguto viharati. Sota is the ear, and then ghanindriya is the nose, indriya is faculty, and then jivha indriya, jivha is the tongue. I think in Sanskrit it is jihva, and Pali it's jivha. And then kaya is body, and then mana is the mind. So mind control or mind restraint also is there. Apart from eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind also is there for us to restrain or to have some discipline. And yang hisa bhikkave manindriya sangvarang asangutasa viharato uppajjeyung asava vighata parilaha manindriya sangvarang asangutasa viharato evansa te asava vighata parilaha nahonti. For the distressing and feverish defilements that might arise in someone who lives without restraint do not arise when there is such restraint. So this is about the last thing. So it's like the previous one, same thing. So every in with every indriya, this sentence is added, and as this is the last one, so it is explained like this. So manindriya sangvarang asangutasa. So if you don't have the discipline or the restraint with the manindriya, then when somebody lives like that, uppajjeyung asava vighata parilaha. So in such people, these asavas can be there. And then manindriya sangvarang sangutasa viharato. So when mana indriya or the mind faculty is, sorry, so mind faculty is restrained, and with such a person, evan sate asava vighata parilaha nahonti. To such people, these distressing and feverish defilements will not happen, will not occur. Okay, is that clear to you? Any question? Okay, so if then we go to the next one. So we have to know now, this is the matter of chakku indriya, sota indriya, and ghana indriya, and jivha indriya, and kaya indriya, and mana indriya. When you have the restraint, those distressing and feverish defilements, or what we call vighata parilaha asava, they do not arise. Yanhissa bhikkave sangvarang asangutassa viharato uppajjeyung asava vighata parilaha sangvarang sangutassa viharato evan sate asava vighata parilaha na honti. For the distressing and feverish defilements that might arise in someone who lives without restraint do not arise when there is such restraint. I think we talked about that. Yang hissa bhikkave sang sangutasa viharato upajjayung asava vighata parilaha sangutasa viharato evan sate vighata parilaha na honti. So when you have uh, the discipline, when you have the restraint about these eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and the mind, all these faculties, when you are restrained with them, you are able to monitor them and control them, then those distressing and feverish defilements will not arise. Ime uchanti bhikkhave asava samvara pahatabba. These are the asavas that have to be given up by samvara. Okay, so that is the second one. I think with that we can stop for today, and I would like to leave the discussion open if you have any question, and then we discuss, or else we can next time we can go to other um, other like patisangve, patisevana, pahatabba asava, and the things. Okay, so then with that we conclude today's Dhamma Sutta study class, and thank you for joining us, and hope you learned something, and I hope this one will help you learn the Dhamma, practice the Dhamma, and ultimately realize the Dhamma. And hopefully by the end of the sutta we will learn more, and the upcoming suttas will be much more easier if we go step by step learning these suttas. Uh, and with that, we conclude for today. And by the power of this merit, may all of you, your family, and near and dear ones, friends and relatives, teachers, elders, your neighborhood, everyone, and your community members, and people in your country, and people around the world be um, be blessed by the Noble Triple Gem. May you all be well, happy, and healthy, and safe wherever you are. May all the devas and other sentient beings also receive this merit, and be well, happy, and healthy, and safe wherever they are. May all the departed relatives of all of you be able to receive this merit, share this merit, and be well, happy, healthy, and safe wherever they are. May all of us, and may all sentient beings, including all devas and all the other sentient beings, be able to achieve the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you.